Hello, Brian.
Hey, Anton, what's up?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
No problem, no problem. Let's you're from France or Sweden?
Both. I
Oh,
am French, but I'm living in Sweden now.
cool, cool. How you like Sweden?
I love it.
Yeah,
I really love it. I moved here because it felt like more things were happening music wise, and the whole cultural life is way more active here. And
right.
it hasn't disappointed. So it was a
Yeah,
good choice.
yeah. That's my favorite place for music. I mean, great harmonies, um, choruses, and just lyrics. And I do a lot of interviews from bands from Sweden because that's my favorite country to listen to music from, like that. So let's go back to, I guess, about 2018. You were in another band, Nereid, Nereids.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, tell me a little bit
yeah.
about that.
Yeah, it's a French band. It's the first time someone asked me about that one.
Uh-huh.
It was the first band I joined after going to music school.
Uh-huh.
It's in French. It means Nereid, which
Uh-huh.
it's from some mythological creature, and they basically play symphonic metal. And I joined them as a lead guitar player right after school, and we got to play a few gigs.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I haven't heard from them since 2019 or even end of 2018.
Wow, wow. Was that an experience or stuff like that? Did you put out any kind of material in that band?
um, I don't think so. I recorded stuff,
Uh-huh.
but I don't think it came out.
Right.
We mostly played. I wasn't the main composer in that band, so the main composer, his name was Jérôme. I forgot his surname,
Uh-huh.
and I know there were talks about the new album, and we started working on stuff, but I don't think any of it came out.
Cool, cool. Tell me your relationship with Oz over at Osukara.
Yeah, I mean, so I've been in Osukaru for a bit more than a year. I
Uh-huh.
joined them last year, right before a festival called the Swedish Easter in Hamburg. That was in April 2023, um, which was very funny because it was only Swedish bands,
Right.
but in Germany.
Wow.
So the whole backstage was speaking Swedish, and it was a cool experience. Like from what I got to understand, Frederick was so the who's now the singer was also the lead guitar player, and when it came time to playing the Starbound album live, he chose to focus on singing,
Right.
and so that was a bit of a panic moment for the band because it was in such a short notice. It was like a month before the shows started
Right.
to come in, and then there was like a tour and so on. And he had seen clips of me on Facebook. So he said to us, reach to this French guy who came to Gothenburg.
Uh-huh.
And at first I thought like it was an audition and so on. So I came in, and no, they wanted me. So we
Wow,
did
cool.
we did one rehearsal, and right after the rehearsal there was the photo shoot booked. So it went very fast, and a bit more than a week later
Right.
we were playing together in Hamburg. So it went very fast there.
Wow, wow. You also teach guitar?
I do,
Tell
yes.
me a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, that mainly came as a necessity, especially in France,
Right.
because here it's way different.
Uh-huh.
The way like you can say to a landlord when you are visiting for an apartment that you're a musician, and it will be a positive thing.
Right.
In France, if you say that, you won't get the apartment. So since I know music theory, I come from the classical world. I played the violin from age 3 to 6, and then cello. So I know a bit how music works.
Uh-huh.
The whole teaching thing was quite easy, and that is accepted in France. Like,
Right.
you're a guitar player, that's not a job. You're a music teacher, then that's a job.
Right.
so that's why I got involved. I had both, like working for a school, where basically it's like you're seeing students half an hour after half an hour. This is,
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
and then like more personalized when I went to people's places or they were coming to me. And thanks to YouTube, like when it started growing a bit and I started making a bit of a name,
Right.
that was the most interesting thing, because then you have people reaching out to you
Right.
because they like what you're doing, and it either like they want to learn your songs, and instead of learning by themselves, they want you to show, oh no, it's in this position or whatever, or just it resonates with their style of music and they want. I think like the producer side of things, like what
Right.
would you do on this, like advice on composition and so on.
Right. Yeah.
So it's grown to be what I feel more attached to or more interesting, um, even though I'm still teaching to beginners. I have like
Right.
the son of my neighbor who comes here. It's more of a guitar hang, like I'm his guitar big brother,
Right.
and he's into the whole Europe thing. Even though he's 12 and he's just listening to the best bands. So yeah, I really love that part of the job.
Cool, cool. When you lived in France, did you listen to basically French music, or did you listen to other stuff?
I think I've always listened to. That's also the reason why we moved to Sweden, because we realized that we were either listening. When I say we, it's, Lisa, my wife, she's
Right.
also a lot into music, and she's an artist. She paints,
Uh-huh.
and she's now painting on guitars. So
Cool.
I'm planning on having this one as
Wow,
my main for Osukaru, because
wow,
it's
that's
flashy.
amazing.
It's very
Yeah.
80s.
Yeah.
But so we are both into music a lot,
Uh,
and we realized that we were basically listening to bands from the US, from
right.
the UK, or from Scandinavia.
Right. Yeah.
The only exception to that
Uh-huh.
would be like bands from Brazil, like Angra,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
or a band from France called Gojira, because they are so huge that you
Right.
cannot miss them. But we really weren't a lot into French music per se.
Right.
And even in Marseille, which is we were living in Marseille before moving here,
Right.
which is southeast of France, and there wasn't really a local scene,
Right. Yeah.
um, and that sort of was the hardest point for MikhMakh. So the band where I write everything and compose on my main thing, with MikhMakh when we started in 2018.
Uh-huh.
The main problem is like when you're starting in a scene, you're
Right.
trying to get in, but when
Yeah.
there's nothing, then
Yeah.
it's way more complicated to get some thing going and so on. And for us, the thing that triggered some interest was actually opening for Freak Kitchen,
Uh-huh.
because I'm friends with the band and they were touring friends, so we arranged that. And like we had been playing shows in Marseille before that,
Right.
but once we opened for Freak Kitchen, then it was like, oh, you're from here. Okay, let's talk. But there's not really that interest in let's see up and coming artists and so on.
Right. Yeah.
It's way
Wow.
more closed.
Cool, cool. Now, YouTube had to be a great help to you on the internet, like Facebook and Instagram. Is that true?
It has been, at least to the extent that it has made work come to me.
Right.
If I wasn't on social media, I wouldn't be in Osukaru,
Mhm.
because I mean it's a tool that through the years I started in 2017, sort of figuring out how to use that, and
Right.
with bad cameras and everything, and sort of figuring out on the way. But I guess getting used to filming, recording, and
Right.
getting sort of an okay sound, enough to portray what you're doing and so on, that has helped out with some opportunities with
Right.
Osukaru, but also with collaborating with guitar brands, and I guess just showing, like, if someone is curious about MikhMakh, and they type in like, okay, MikhMakh, or MikhMakh. Yes, it's a weird name,
Yeah.
but I chose it, and I like it.
Uh-huh.
If they type in, then the it's because I'm used to YouTube and have sort of a little fan base there. It's easier to find.
Right. Yeah.
So that has helped the band on that regard. Yes.
Cool. Cool. Let's go to your, I guess your debut album, Groovy Wonderland, in 2018. I looked at a lot of your covers. Did your wife also help with the covers?
Yeah. And it's
I
funny
can
that you
tell.
talk about you've really done your homework, by the way. I must
Thank you.
say.
Thank you. Yeah.
But yeah, so Lisa, she's done she's responsible for anything art related, like visual art related when it comes to MikhMakh, because she's a cheat code. I love what she's doing,
Uh-huh.
and when I need some art done, it's always her. So she was responsible for Groovy Wonderland, basically because she had a painting that I really liked, and I
Right.
felt like, oh, that would suit like I mean, Groovy Wonderland, I was picturing a bit of Alice in Wonderland, and
Right.
when she gets into the tree, and that's why it's a bit, with leaves and so on.
Right. Yeah.
So she was responsible for that. I usually say that the best thing about Groovy Wonderland is the artwork she did,
Right. Yeah.
because it's a very confusing and confused album.
Yeah.
Like, I needed to get it out of my system because going like when you go to music school, it's
Right.
like a year super intensive with all genres of music, and you
Right.
get teachers who are all specialized in their own
Right.
thing, and you get exposed to a lot, but it's very confusing.
Right.
And now, like, looking back, I see like where there was the embryo of what MikhMakh would
Right.
be stylistically,
Yeah.
but with a lot of things in the middle where I'm really sort of digging and seeing what happened and so on. But yeah, so she was responsible for the artwork. Yes.
Cool. So there's 12 tracks on there. That's quite a bit of music for fans you gave out there. Can you tell me anything about some of the tracks that really inspired you?
Are we talking about Groovy Wonderland or
Yes. Yeah.
still?
Yeah. Groovy
Okay,
Wonderland.
okay. Because I've done two more albums.
Yeah, I have them. Sunrise and
It's
Flash
it's
Sale.
it's perfect. I mean, it's been a while since I've talked about Groovy Wonderland. Um, I'm happy that it's out. There's 12 songs. I mean, it's mainly 10 with a beginning and an end. Like, Groovy Wonderland
Right.
is sort of a welcome in the album,
Right.
welcoming to the album. And Soundcheck is my failed attempt
Uh-huh.
to doing a soundcheck song, because I felt it was very silly for bands to get on stage and not knowing what to soundcheck with.
Right. Yeah.
So I felt it was funny to do a soundcheck song that we barely used to soundcheck. We just played it when we did the Eastern European tour
Uh-huh.
in 2019. We played it just as a part of
Right. Yeah.
the set. And I liked, if there's one thing that I really like about the Groovy Wonderland, is it's spontaneous.
Right.
I was really eager to start the MikhMakh thing, and it's a bit more experimental in the sense that 34 €12, so
Right.
34 euros and 12 cents, that song. I really feel like there's a punk essence to that, and an experimental essence
Right.
that I still like to this day, especially because, when you go to the shopping mall,
Right.
and I mean, now I would have done it a bit shorter in the beginning so that people stick with it, but live it worked well. I really like the fact that when you go to the shopping mall and there's the little blips, when they're scanning the products.
Yeah.
And I was just there with a Tascam recorder in one of the big shopping malls in the Marseille area, and I was just walking through the line of the cashiers there,
Right. Yeah.
and for 15 minutes, hoping that in between, all of
Right.
that, I will find a good moment.
Right.
Obviously, security came because there was a random guy just walking there for 15 minutes, but I
Uh-huh.
had what I needed, so I just said, "Oh no, sorry, I was about to go." So, It was okay, but I really like the fact that there was like some form of polyrhythm. At least I heard it like that with the blip blops. It was like tim, 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 tim,
Uh-huh.
tim, tim, and then 34 € 12, and that was like just in the middle of this whole thing. I didn't have to edit anything, and I really like the voice of the one working there. Probably too tired and not liking the job, but it was
Right.
very like 34 € 12. ah,
Yeah.
so that was I felt like okay, that's the name of the song, and it turned out to be like a very high tempo thing that I like. Maybe we should play it live. It would be funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Let's go on to Sunrise. That came out in 2021. You did a lyric one and one an instrumental. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, because I saw one guitar player that I like a lot is Ron Bumblefoot Thal,
Yes.
and he's played with many bands, and I love his solo stuff. And on Bandcamp, he has this cool thing where he releases his albums, but he also has like karaoke versions for people
Right.
who want to have the instrumental, but also like his backing vocals. So it's
Right.
almost like you have him helping you out, and he has also the completely instrumental ones
Right.
if you want to just play along, sing along, or learn the songs more easily. And I felt it was a good idea.
Right.
And since I had like the whole notes and the tab book and so on for Sunrise, I felt it was just a cool thing to have, and I still have uh, like I think it's especially from the Bandcamp.
Right.
It's really half between who buys what.
Right.
Like I have a bunch of guitar players who have bought just the instrumental one,
Right.
and that comes directly with the tab book and so on. So that's the reason why it was like, okay, if you are into guitar and maybe over technical stuff,
Right. Yeah.
like maybe I was still like too focused as a guitar player and less as a songwriter.
Right.
So that's a good album to have as a guitar player working on different techniques and so on.
Yeah.
But yeah, the story with Sunrise is that after we did the 2019 European tour, I had already started composing there, and one of the songs called Great Dane,
Uh-huh.
about the true story. Our upstairs neighbor had a Great Dane,
Uh-huh.
and it was quite a shitty apartment, so we were living with him.
Right. Yeah.
So it was really interesting. I really like dogs, but this one was very massive, and so he inspired the song, and we started testing out so that song and a few more during the tour.
Right.
So the the idea was okay. We've done an Eastern European tour in 2019. Let's take the beginning of 2020 to record an album and so on, and then fall of 2020, like we did in 2020 in 2019. Let's go on tour again and
Right.
see if, so that didn't happen because of the pandemic, and so basically I sat on it a bit. Like I sat on the album saying, okay, maybe we can just reschedule everything. So we rescheduled everything to fall of 2021.
Right.
And so by summer of 2021, I felt that, okay, the tour is not going to happen, but let's take that budget that we had and put it into music videos. So that's why
Right.
there's way more music videos for Sunrise than there ever was for Groovy Wonderland. And we released it just virtually. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
there's physical copies, but yeah, we released it like that.
Right.
And that to some extent was also the end of MikhMakh 1.0,
Right.
because I from then, like from the release, I just continued on my own,
Right.
because the first iteration didn't survive the pandemic. It's like we always had something going on
Right.
before that, especially after opening for Free Kitchen. So that sort of kept my colleagues involved, and they were eager. And I think they got used to that. Oh, there's always something coming, and there's the European tour, and now we're going to do something bigger, and so on. And so I didn't stop during the pandemic, but for
Right.
them it felt like they they weren't part of the project and so on.
Right.
And that's why now with this new version, I'm um, talking more, like
Yeah.
because there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes where you're looking for gigs and composing and so on. And so I try, especially with Ule, so my drummer, my live drummer now. I really try to tell to everybody what I'm trying to do in terms of promotion and so on for
Right.
the third album, Flash Sale. So yeah, that was like the lessons learned from the first two albums and the first iteration of MikhMakh. And so then once Sunrise was released, I
Right.
just started composing for Flash Sale, and moving here sort of made it sort of delayed it to the point where it was ready, like the songs were finished um in the summer of 2022, but we released it summer 2024
Right. Yeah.
because it
Well,
took time to settle and so on.
oh, good. Yeah. Matter of fact, I just saw Bumblefoot about 2 months ago. I photographed him. He was in Jeff Scott Soto's band.
Yes.
So like he's amazing. He's
Yeah.
amazing. But looks like when he plays, it looks like there's like flawless.
Oh, and I mean he's truly amazing. I got the chance of meeting him at the Free Guitar Camp. It's a guitar camp happening 20 minutes from where I live now.
Right. Yeah.
And I've been coming there since 2018, and now I live super close, so I keep on going. And he came as a guest, but like he stayed very. So usually every evening we have a guest that does
Right.
a masterclass, and he did that, but he stayed like three days. So
Right.
I got to talk with him, and he was super generous, both in terms of guitar, teaching guitar and so on, but also giving insights on the music industry and so on. So uh, a wonderful human being.
Yes. Yes. How often do you play out?
Well, I just played two shows this weekend.
Uh-huh.
Well, you mean play out,
Live.
just play shows, or
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
play live? Yeah, we just played with. I mean, I love playing live.
Right.
I love composing. Uh, I would say it's still my favorite part because I really like I don't know, the adrenaline that you get from creating something out of
Right.
nothing and problem solving and so on. But I feel like the live experience, especially um, for the past 2 years,
Right.
I have a renewed appreciation for it, and more like a celebration of life and of life, and I really like that part of the job, and so that's why I try to do it as much as possible.
Right.
So with the fact that Osukaru, after I did a good bunch of shows with them last year, and so since Oz took time first to prepare the release of his solo album, and then Osukaru, that gave like a time frame for me to release Flash Sale, so
Right.
MikhMakh's third album, and start doing gigs.
Right.
So we did the festival last year in Germany. That was sort of a tryout for Ule, my new drummer, and then since the release, which was June 21st, we've done local gigs here. I think we have. I mean, if we count the two gigs from last weekend, it's 6 or 7. Like we try to be very active,
Right.
because I truly believe that that's. I mean, even though I'm present online,
Right.
I'm present online because you have to, and just
Right.
in case, I try to be as like have a presence, but high quality one, where it's
Right.
like if you want to check out either my profile or the band or so, that it makes sense and that it's not photos of me and my cat, for instance,
Right.
which is great. I love my cat, but it's but so that's like the side, okay, so that people understand. But I feel like where MikhMakh shines most is when we play live, because it's very old school. We are three people. I play guitar and sing. I have Ule as my drummer. Lisa, who is also a great bass player. She helped out for a few shows in the festival I talked about. It was her who played the bass,
Right.
but she's busy enough with painting
Uh-huh.
and really no interest on making a career in music as a musician.
Right.
But she's super kick-ass at bass, and so right now we have a Brazilian bass player called Tiago.
Uh-huh.
But like, the fact that we are three and there's no backing tracks, no nothing, is just
Right.
us. It's really like you are both naked, like,
Uh-huh.
okay, whatever we play you hear and so on.
Right.
So there's no a cushion or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's also very thrilling as a musician,
Right.
because I feel we have a lot of space to express ourselves, and I really like, my favorite thing about the gigs and hopefully the coming tour and so on has been rearranging the songs for live, and
Right.
saying like, okay, so here we make it twice as long, or here I interact with the people in the middle of the song, and then we get back into it, and those little rearrangements
Right.
that make the song more alive, like that you're really feeling like we are having something special.
Right. Yeah.
Because especially in the metal genre, there's a lot of people and like big names who are trying to recreate albums live,
Right.
and I get the idea, but I totally disagree with it, because I have good speakers at home,
Right.
and so if I want to hear the album perfectly, I will just hear it at home.
Right.
When I go to a show, I go there because the musicians have moved me in a way. Like I feel a connection with them, and I want to share that moment. Like they are alive, we're alive at the same time. So I want to witness that,
Right.
and I want to be a part of that appreciation of the music and the musicians and so on. I don't really care if the solo is twice as long, or
Right.
if the guitar sound is not exactly as neat or whatever. I I would be like, it would be the contrary. My French is coming back. Like, au contraire. So I I actually really like the when it's a bit rawer, like
Right. Yeah.
less pristine and so on, because it's like, yeah, this is about energy, and I get, it rocks my boat way more when it's like that. So
Cool.
that's why MikhMakh is like that.
Uh-huh. Cool. Cool. So do you have any plans for the rest of the year or anything coming up you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, we are working hard, trying to promoting Flash Sale, and trying to get it to as many ears as possible.
Right.
I know I can, because of my contacts, and it's already in the works. I know that I can play shows in Spain.
Right.
We've been playing shows in Sweden, but the like the gap between the two
Right.
is quite big.
Yeah.
So that's why the promotion gets in. I'm working with a super cool team in the UK who's getting in touch, and hopefully we get to bookers, and like the objective is next year to tour Europe
Right.
to at least an extent where we can have a few shows in between, like the two home bases.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what we're working on. There will be more music videos because I like doing that, and we're gonna do a live in the studio thing, because the same, I feel like in the versions that we have now are cool to
Uh-huh.
witness live, and for those who like, for instance, I would love to come to the US, and we've had quite some following on Spotify because
Right.
of playlisting, and you really don't control where it ends up. Like
Right.
for instance, our latest music video, Flash Sale, which is basically just me in a shopping mall playing Flash Sale, which I felt was funny enough.
Uh-huh.
That one worked very well in Eastern Europe.
Right.
You can't control where it works. Um, And so when it comes to Spotify, most of the people who are listening are in the US.
Uh-huh.
So it would be great to go there, but yeah, I think considering the size of the band and so on, we will start at least try to convince a bit of Europe, and if it gets the attention of the US to the point of really wanting us to go there,
Right.
then we will for sure do it.
Well, Anton, it's great talking to you, and continued success, and say hi to your wife for me. You know.
Yeah, I will. I will. Thank you so much for having me, Brian. This was fun.
So you want to sing to the fans out there?
Yeah, I mean, if this has made you curious to check out MikhMakh, please do. Your curiosity will be the best thing you can give me.
Cool. Thanks very much, man. I enjoyed the chat.
Me too. Me too. Thank you.
Later. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.